So basically in this particular chapter, that is the first chapter, what are important points? I've highlighted the important points. I'll be just telling you these about these particular points. Just go through these particular points. First one is basically in the first page itself, this particular point has been given, that is the physical location of India in terms of the length and breadth, longitude and latitude and longitudes has been provided. Please go through this particular idea. That is basically, it says mainland exists between latitudes of 8 degrees and 37 degrees. 8 minutes and 37 minutes. I'm just rounding it off. And longitudes of 68 degrees and 97 degrees. East and measures about 3214 kilometer from north to south, and 2900 kilometer from east to west. So please remember this particular points. And apart from this, the the total length of the coastline has also been provided, that is somewhere in the range of 7517 kilometer. Please remember this particular point also. Apart from this, in this particular page, some other points which are important are basically, again, if you have read the geography very carefully, this is not required. But if you have not yet read geography, or if you are still yet to read geography, if you integrate geography with India book, these are some of the points which will be very important. Apart from this, he has given the composition of the Indian mainland. That is, he says mainland comprised of four regions. That is the Great Mountain Zone, the plains of Ganga, and the Indus, as well as the desert region, and finally the southern peninsula. And in the following paragraphs, one after the other, you can see that the information on this only has been provided in the next following paragraphs. Again, if you have not read the physical geography or physical India NCERT textbook, you can go through these particular points. But if you have read physical India, or if you have already revised NCERT books with respect to Indian geography, you do not be worried. But having said so, some of the very important points which have been provided in the following paragraphs are about the river systems. Basically says there are three distinct river systems in India. That is one Indus river system, Ganga and Brahmaputra. And in the following paragraph, he says the desert region, basically in India, the desert region can be divided into two parts, the Great Desert and the Little Desert. If you want to go further into this, you can simply read where the little desert extends, or what is the physical extension of a little desert, and what is the physical extension of the Great Desert. Many times the question will be asked on these particular parameters itself. So please be very careful with respect to these paragraphs or these particular points, such as he says Great Desert extends from edge of Run of Kutch beyond the Luni River northward. So question could be, where does the Run of Kutch lie and where does the Luni River lie? So these kind of questions can be asked in UPSC prelims. So please go through this. Apart from this, in the following paragraph, he has given certain information about the peninsular plateau. Basically, he says the peninsular plateau is flanked on one side by Eastern Ghats and on the other side by Western Ghats. Many a times the prelims question has been asked about the peninsular plateau, specifically on Eastern Ghats and Western Ghats. And one of the very important points that will be given is the rivers which are existing, or rivers which are flowing in these particular ghats. Second point will be usually about the height. So basically you can see the point here that has been provided is with respect to the height. He says the Eastern Ghats where the average elevation is about 610 meters, and Western Ghats where the elevation generally is in the range of 915 meters to 1220 meters, and at various places it also rises to 2240 meters. So these are some of the important points which have been given in this particular paragraph in the first and second page. Apart from this, you can go to the next page, which has given which has certain information about the river systems. That is page number 3. In the page number 3, basically is given the Indian river system. So that is basically 4 river systems: a Himalayan river system, Deccan rivers, coastal rivers, and rivers of inland drainage basin. Again, if you have already practiced NCERT or if you have revised NCERT, you need not go through this particular discussion which has been provided in the following paragraphs. But if you are yet to do it, please go through these particular paragraphs. But having said so, I would recommend that you please go through NCERT geography, because all the points that has been provided here are very generic in nature, and these particular points will definitely be mentioned in the NCERT. So this particular following paragraphs will only give you a overview or just outer points regarding these river systems, but NCERT will definitely cover all the discussions or all the points regarding these particular river systems. So some of the river systems that he has discussed is regarding Indus and Ganga, Brahmaputra, Meghna river systems. And in the following paragraphs, we can see the discussion has been provided. Basically, the discussion is surrounded about what is or which are the important river basins with respect to, let's say, Brahmaputra river, which are the important tributaries with respect to, let's say, Indus. You can see that particular information provided here. So Indus great river is the greatest one of the great rivers in the world, rises in Manasarovar, Tibet, and flows into India, and then thereafter into Pakistan, and finally falls into Arabian Sea. Apart from this, he has also given information regarding what are the important tributaries of Indus river, that is Satluj, right, Bias, Ravi, Chenab, and Jhelum. Apart from this, the information regarding tributaries and the basins of Ganga, Brahmaputra, and Meghna have been provided. So please go through if you have not gone through this particular discussion in the NCERTs. Apart from this, in the same page, another very important point that has been provided is with respect to Godavari river. So he says the Godavari river is the is present in the southern peninsula and is the second largest river basin, which covers around 10% of the area of India. Please be very careful. This particular question can be asked in the prelims as a MCQ question, and the next line itself gives information related to Krishna river, which it says next to it is the Krishna basin in the region of Mahanadi, right? And the Mahanadi is another large basin of the region. So please be very careful. These particular rivers are there in the newspapers for a simple reason. One, because of the discussion on interlinkage of river systems. Second, because of the disputes between various states to get the distribution of river waters. So these are some of the points which are there in the newspapers. So based on that, the question can be asked from here as a part of a MCQ question. So please go through these particular points. So apart from these particular points, nothing much important has been provided in this particular discussion or in this particular chapter. Again, some information regarding climate and seasons has been provided, but I'm pretty sure you've gone through the concept of a monsoon, concept of a seasons in your geography discussions, and whatever discussion has been provided here is not very important as per the UPSC is concerned. You should know the detailed discussion about the climates or the monsoons or the seasons in India for a simple reason. UPSC will ask questions and this particular discussion which has been provided is basically gist of the climate or seasons in India. So apart from this, nothing much important has been provided in these particular discussions in this particular chapter. So last point which has been provided, which is again important from UPSC prelims, is the concept of demographic studies or a demography of India. Some of the important points have been provided in this particular chapter. That is, if you see, if your India book, if you are carrying the India book 2018, this will be in the page number 7. Luckily, compared to last year, the number of pages have been cut down heavily in the first chapter also, because if you have seen the last year's India book, a lot of pages have given a lot of tables. But this year, from the first chapter perspective itself, the number of pages have been heavily cut down by the government of India. So basically, what are the important points under this particular discussion? Basically, it discusses the concept of a census. He says the census of 2001 is a historic one because it is the first census in the 21st century. And apart from this, in the second paragraph, he discusses on the census 2011, which he says is the 15th census of its kind, and the first census was conducted in the year 1872. Now, basically, this 15th census was conducted in two phases. He says the 15th census was conducted in two phases. First phase was a house listing and housing census between the period of April 1st to September 2010, and second phase was basically population enumeration, which was conducted from February 9th to 28th February 2011. So apart from this, the revision data has been provided, which is not very important. So what will be apart from this, the point of which will be somewhat, again, not very important, somewhat important, is this final population data was released on April 30th 2013. So what are the important data which has been provided in the following paragraphs? That is same page number 7 and page number 8. Basically, as per this 15th census, that is the census 2011, population of India as on March 2011 stood at around 1.21 billion. So you can see that it is 1.21 billion, of which 623 million were male and 587 million female. And apart from this, you can also see that the sorry, the population of India has recorded the population of India as recorded at each decennial census from 1901 has grown steadily, except for a decrease during 1911 to 1921. Remember this, only in the census of 1921 there was a decline in the population, whereas in all the other censuses which were conducted or which have been conducted from 1901, there has been a steady increase in the population. And the term decennial, which has been provided here in simple terms, means once a decade. Apart from this, the other information that has been provided is with respect to population density. You can see that the population density for the census 2011 was 382 per square kilometer, and there was a decadal growth rate, that is from one decade to next decade there was a decadal growth rate of around 17.72%. Apart from this, UPSC might ask you a question on which is the state which is mostly or which has got the highest population density. The information has been provided here itself in the subsequent paragraph. That is, Bihar is the most thickly populated state, that is with the population density of 1106 persons per square kilometer, followed by West Bengal, which has got 1028, and followed by Kerala 860. So for sake of information, remember this, the state of Bihar, majority of the times if the option is given and if you have not read it, you will come to a conclusion that Uttar Pradesh might be having a very high population density. But please understand, population density in simple terms is nothing but the total population divided by the total area of the state. And using this particular formula, yeah, the India Yearbook states that Bihar is mostly populated or most thickly populated, that is having a highest population density, followed by West Bengal, followed by Kerala. Apart from this, the discussion has been provided or the information has been provided with respect to sex ratio as well as literacy. With respect to sex ratio, remember this, child sex ratio has declined to 919 per thousand male, that is between the ages of 0 to 6 years. But apart from this, another term that has not been provided is the basic or overall sex ratio of India. The overall sex ratio of India is 940 as per the census of 2011. So remember this, overall sex ratio is 940 female per thousand male, and child sex ratio is 919 per thousand male. This becomes very important for a simple reason. There has been a discussion on the sex ratio in economic survey, and basically UPSC may join certain points in the economic survey with certain points from India book and ask you a question on it. So please remember these particular facts. Apart from this, certain facts with respect to literacy has been provided. As per census 2011, the overall literacy sorry, overall literacy for India has been pegged at around 73%, of which around 81% is for male and around 65% is for female. So these are certain numbers. please make a note of it, just mug up these particular numbers. And if you want to go right within these particular points itself, if you want to read in detail, certain points have been provided in the following paragraphs. That is, Kerala has retained the first position with 94% literacy rate, followed by Lakshadweep around 92%. So please be very careful. UPSC may ask a question, which of the following states has got the highest literacy rate, or which of the following union territory has got the highest literacy rate. If it is a state, or question is asked on a state, it is Kerala, and if the question is on a union territory, it is Lakshadweep. So apart from this, another information that has been provided is with respect to the last ranking state. That is, it says Bihar has got the lowest literacy rate of around 62% as per the census 2011. So these are some of the very important points that have been provided in the first chapter of India book. So apart from this, nothing else is important in this particular chapter. Please go to the second chapter.